All right, folks, welcome to Last Week I Learned. This is my first try doing this on an iPad, so bear with me. We're trying out the screen recording and trying to figure out the mic quality. I know it's not great, but we will learn and grow. So, this is my first one in a while. I'm really excited to get back to doing some product reviews. So, this one for this week is Capacities.io, right? And so, I call it a studio for your mind, right? Which is a pretty big claim. I am immediately thinking of my mind here. I'm just going to pull up like things this brings to mind. So this is like remember everything, organize everything. It's kind of like the same kind of idea where it's like tagless and you just throw everything in there and then kind of self-organizing. It also reminds me a lot of Obsidian, which I loved and used quite a bit. So private and flexible writing app that adapts to the way you think, right? So they've changed the way they brand Obsidian a little bit. So this is what I'm reminded of, right? It's like a lot of backlinks. It's kind of like wiki style. So maybe a little bit of Notion here as well. It's a first impression. So I think one, love the website. Design is incredible. I'm a sucker for good design. I actually like the non-dark mode better, so I'm switching to that. I think this is a great point. Like they have some great thoughts, this little manifesto about files and objects as first-class citizens and not using folders. Really interesting, right? Networked thought. Kind of see this again, very Obsidian-like. The conclusion I kind of came to here is it's like a more opinionated Obsidian. So they make this point. This is like a subtweeted Obsidian or these other tools like Rimnote, where it's like batteries included. No plugins, no coding, no techie syntax. I've used Obsidian to really get the most out of it. You do have to use plugins. You do kind of have to code and use weird syntax. Like it's difficult. It's not an easy tool to get into. And I think this is a really interesting take. I mean, the tool I use, Craft, is a little bit like this, where, it's kind of Obsidian-like. They're all about ideas, right? In that, it's kind of wiki-ish. It's just another type of Notion type of clone here. This one does seem innovative in that, like, it comes with not plugins, but integrations. So you can send things from WhatsApp into your daily note. The one actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that this reminds me the most of is I think it's reflect.io. Maybe it's not reflects.com. Maybe it's just reflect.com. Wow, P&G owns that domain. That's fun. Maybe it's reflect.md. I don't know. Tool for thought. I'm like stuck on this one because reflect notes. Really similar where they like have this kind of daily note idea. They have lots of integrations built out. It's networked thought. It's kind of got some like special stuff. Although this one has AI, and so does Craft, and so does Notion now. And I'm kind of surprised. The more I look at this one, the more I'm a little bit like bummed out that it doesn't have AI. Though to be honest, I don't use any of the AI features in any of my writing tools, so maybe that's not such a bad thing. But I mean, here's my take on this. I don't think this is super, super differentiated. I do think it's interesting because it's like batteries included. They do have a nice blog. They do have nice design. I don't know that I'll be trying this one out because I read somewhere like something needs to be more than 10% better for you to switch. It needs to be like, two times better or something like that. I think this is probably like 10% better in some places and probably 10% worse in others. Like this doesn't feel like a step change. It feels very much like an incremental innovation. And I want to do one last final look here and look at the pricing. Okay, so this is free. I mean, God, I keep getting convinced because this is really nice. Like this is really great branding. This is really great customer service, it appears like. They don't have a pro. This is going to be $10 a month. Oh, they're working on an AI assistant and task management, intelligent media analysis. I mean, this is interesting. This is kind of like they're heading towards my mind, but this is a crowded space. And one fair point with crowded spaces is that means there's lots of people trying to use it, right? There's lots of people trying to solve this problem. There's probably money there. So maybe I'm off here. I think they'll struggle here. I think they've got some great design. They have some really cool ideas about this space, but I just don't see them beating some other companies. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, we'll see. They look like they've got some great stuff going, and this certainly is something I would use if I weren't already using something else. Oh, this is fun. Capacity looks similar to Notion. What's the difference? Hmm. Oh, all right. Well, I'll be reading about this. I love any place with a good blog, as folks know. I don't know. So this one, these are kind of like auditions. I'm realizing these videos, and this one does not pass the audition. I'm impressed. I like it, but I'm not going to try it because that takes a lot of work, and I just don't quite see the differentiation. It's honestly a little too opinionated for me, even to try out because I think it would take a lot of setup time. So that's my thoughts on capacities.io. In general, great work. Hats off to y'all. Just not quite enough for me to make the switch, but I'll be reading your blog and following your newsletter. So thank you so much for joining me and let me know what you think of this tool in the comments.